and very disturbing because he's working very hard to continue with the series throughout the whole year. He's currently third in the points championship and coming off of a win at Long Beach. His whole focus is to be competitive, and he didn't think he would be today, but when cars are on the racetrack, you get that advantage of the tow around there. I think it's helped him.
Well, and we should point out we had to go one more lap because the 32 and the 12 were not in the proper alignment, and also I would need to correct myself, those cars on the wave around, they were 2 laps down. Now they are now 1 lap down, so that still means we have 12 cars on the lead lap. Here we go. Ramp up the speed.
Green, green, green.
And you heard it. We're back to green flag racing, and all 5 of the top 5 cars are hitting that push to pass. The top 3 sort of pull out like they have on the other restarts today. Further back, there you see Ryan Briscoe in the 6th. He's got his hands full with a couple of cars surrounding him. There's the group up front, the top 5. And there's where you see your logjam, the 43, John Andretti alongside of Takuma Sato, and that is for position.
And give Sato a lot of credit because he's not really had a great scenario so far this year, as Tagliani now makes a swerving move and goes underneath Ryan Hunter-Ray. You see that black and white BMW car on the bottom. Ryan Hunter-Ray now on the high side, and if you're going to make a pass, if you can get underneath the driver in front, you might just get it completed.
Vitor Meira in the 14, he's looking to go underneath. There's no room there because Sato is already in that spot. These 4 cars side by side on board with Andretti. That's Mario Marias, and Marias going by, so all of a sudden Andretti's car is backing up.
And he is a driver who has used all his push-to-pass opportunities so far, has used all 20 of them. Maybe he might rethink that when he gets to the Indianapolis 500 next month, because in the scenario when you come down to a run towards the checker with only a few laps left to go, you want to have just a little extra possibility of pushing that button to get going.
What's the latest on John Andretti, Rick?
Well, early on, he was pretty frustrated with the car. He said he just couldn't pass anybody. He wanted a wing adjustment. But think about this. Once again, this goal race, his only goal was just to get laps down, to get comfortable, both with the team and with the car. All things considered, when you look at what he's doing right now in terms of how he's running, this is a very impressive trial run.
Oh, and that was so close as you finish up. He went below the line, knew he was out of bounds, pulled out of the throttle, and then still almost ran up the hill.
Well, as he goes into that turn, Marty, that white line, that's the hinge point between the banking and the flat of the track. And he certainly got not only caught on that, but the 2 cars in front just sort of washed out the front wing for him, and that car went up the road and lucky to keep it going.
And we need to correct one thing. Our data on John Andretti's push to pass is incorrect, so we don't know exactly. For some reason it is showing 0, but that's not necessarily the case. We have been told by our data group. The others that we can have told you about are accurate. For example, Scott Dixon, our race leader, still has 18 pushes out of the 20 remaining. So Andretti continues running in 12th. He's the last car on the lead lap. There's Marco Andretti and Dan Wheldon. Now remember, Marco is the first car a lap down. Wheldon right behind him, that is, for 13th on the racetrack. Dan Wheldon, we thought he might be fighting for the race lead. That has not been the case today. It has been all about Scott Dixon for 103 laps. Ryan Briscoe's led 31. Dario Franchitti has led 2. It's Dixon, Franchitti, Tony Kanaan now 3rd, Hideki Muto 4th, Elio Castroneves 5th. We go side by side. NBA playoffs continue on ABC Sunday. First at 1 Eastern, it's the Bucks and the Hawks. Game 7, first round action. Then at 3:30, it's the Lakers and the Jazz. Game 1 of the Western Conference semifinals. The NBA playoffs on ABC Sunday. Our coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with GMC Sierra NBA Countdown. Not much of a battle up front. It has been the Scott Dixon show. He's a half a second ahead of Dario Franchitti.
And Marty, since that last pit stop, we've had just about 22 laps, and I've been watching the speed here, and Franchitti's starting just to slow down just a little bit, like 1/10 of a mile an hour per lap, and this is when Dixon seems to be able to stay strong and consistent. and now we're starting to see Franchitti back up towards where he was before.
Well, and that's been the trend all race long. He is stronger as the run gets longer. This is a great battle on the track right now for fourth. Hideki Muto has it. Ryan Briscoe wants it. Rick?
Hideki Muto came in here with the setup that they use for Graham Rahal. Now, he liked the road course setup. He wasn't so comfortable with the ovals. He qualified well. At one point, he slid back to 10th. Now he's worked his way back up to 4th. He's been having this battle with Ryan Briscoe for about the last 3 laps. He's much more comfortable on the low side. His spotter, Lee Orbaugh, coaching him all the way around, making sure, telling him it's his line. Hold it, guard it, and then go after Tony Kanaan. He keeps fighting him off.
Well, and remember that 06 with Graham Rahal behind the wheel sat on the pole at this race last year, and the Newman Haas racing machine right now doing a great job as Hideki, as there's Ryan Briscoe pushing that push to pass button again. He's now down to 10. He's pushed it 4 times that we've been able to watch during this battle, and he has yet to be able to complete the pass.
Well, he's got to also sit there and look to see that. I might not have anything for the first 2 guys, the leader and Franchitti, but, you know, maybe possibly for Kanaan. But Kanaan's not really stretching away there too much. And when he tries to use his push to pass, he's used 10 of them so far. Couldn't get it done. But you want to leave some for the end, as we talked about before. Vince Welsh, you have something on Tony Kanaan?
Kanaan says the wind has really been an issue down in 3 and 4, and we've seen several of the cars dealing with that today. But as far as the balance of TK's car, he really likes it. They didn't make any changes with the car at all in the last pit stop. Says he's got a little bit of an understeer, but he can work with the tools inside his cockpit to help him where he needs it. The main thing is they just don't have the speed to contend with those 2 Ganassi cars up front. Remember how TK told us in the pre-race the car just wasn't very good, and he told me earlier, he said, I have no magic wand. I can't drive it beyond what it's got, but it seems like TK has maybe put a little magic on it today, running 3rd, much better than what they anticipated coming in.
And a little bit further back, Takuma Sato may have found a new discipline. This is amazing, folks. His first ever oval race in an Indy car, and he is 6th.
And the guy that was stuck in the middle there was Jay Howard aboard that Service Central machine. He didn't have anywhere to go. He had to watch him go past both on the right and left side.
Castroneves gets back around him as Sato hits the button. That's what it means when the light goes green. And he is etched ahead of him. Now it's back to side by side. Who's going to take the spot? This is fun to watch. And I don't think any of us would have picked Sato as the guy to watch. Rick, what do you have down there?
Well, actually, he's been pretty comfortable with the car. They haven't made any major changes, except they had to replace that front wing because he got together with Milkaduno, as you saw earlier, coming out of the pit lane. He started 11th, went back to 19th at one point, and now has worked his way back up through the field. And as you can see, for a guy who's never run on an oval before, and I mean ever before this week, he is doing a phenomenal job. The goal was to get comfortable. He's done it.
And Castroneves just used the push to pass to open up some ground on Sato. He is now down to 12 pushes of the 20. Again, it gives you about an additional horsepower and a half, or mile and a half hour, more than 7 to 9 horsepower. Let's get more on Helio Castroneves. Jamie?
Well, it's interesting. You watch Helio. He ran behind Takuma Sato for a little while. Before this race, Helio told me this is a great place to learn these rookie drivers, what they're capable of and how you can race them. Going into the Indy 500, that's what it's all about. Helio is sitting out there. His car is pretty good. It's a little loose, but I think he's watching these rookie drivers and just learning how he can race them.
All right, thanks, Jamie. As there is the numbers on Helio right now, as it is a 6-second margin to the race leader, Scott Dixon. But the 2 Penske cars that are on the lead lap, Will Power is a lap down in 15th. You saw them there running nose to tail. Everybody is trying to catch that man right there. Scott Dixon has opened up a 1.3-second lead over Dario Franchitti, and the window is now open for that final round of pit stops. So who's going to win this? A former winner in the name of Tony Kanaan started the day with a car that he wasn't really happy with. Dario Franchitti, defending series champion, or Scott Dixon, the man who won here last year? After this message and a word from our ABC stations, we're back. .40 laps remaining here at race number 5 of the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series. We're at Kansas Speedway, where it has been the Scott Dixon show for the most part. Scott has now led 127 laps. We told you right before the break the window has opened. Here's Marco Andretti.
Maybe his car is not working well. Remember, he's also some laps down, so for him, maybe make the car